I dyed my hair a vibrant amethyst purple so my manager would stop blaming me for the hair found in customers' food. I worked at a local diner called the Corner Bistro where the manager, Mr. Richards, was absolutely convinced that every stray hair discovered was mine. It didn't matter that a dozen other employees had the same dark brown hair as me. According to Richards, I was the sole culprit. The first time it happened, a customer found a long brown hair in her waffles. Mr. Richards immediately cornered me in front of the entire staff and said, "Clara, you need to wear a hairnet, or you're looking for a new job." I figured it wasn't worth the fight, so I started wearing the ridiculous hairnet for every shift. But it kept happening. Each time a customer complained about a hair, Richards would point a finger at me and threaten to cut my hours. I insisted it couldn't be me. I was wearing a hairnet, but he would just scowl and call me careless. The other servers began to eye me with suspicion, as if I were a walking health code violation. The final straw came on a hectic Sunday brunch service. A man in a business suit ordered a gourmet omelet and found not one, but 2 long brown hairs mixed into the cheese sauce. He was livid and threatened to report the diner to the city's health department. Mr. Richards stormed into the kitchen, his face beet red. "Clara, that's it," he bellowed for everyone to hear. "One more complaint, and you are gone." Tears of frustration welled in my eyes. I knew with absolute certainty that those hairs weren't mine. My hair was secured in a tight bun beneath that awful hairnet. But Richards was blind to reason. That's when I saw something that made my blood boil. Jessica, one of the line cooks, was working the grill with her long brown hair flowing freely, without even a hair tie. She wore no hair protection at all. But here was the kicker. Mr. Richards never said a word to her because Jessica was his daughter. That evening, I went to a drugstore and bought the most intense purple dye I could find, a deep amethyst shade that was impossible to ignore. In my tiny apartment bathroom, I transformed my hair, leaving purple stains on the sink that would surely cost me my security deposit. The next morning, I walked into work looking like a rock star. Mr. Richards gave me a strange look but said nothing. I put on my hairnet as usual and started my shift. Around the dinner rush, an older couple ordered the shepherd's pie special. A few minutes after I served them, they flagged me down. And there it was, nestled in the creamy potato topping, a long, dark brown hair. My heart pounded, not with fear, but with pure adrenaline. This was the moment I had been waiting for. For the first time, I had concrete, undeniable proof that the hair in the food had never been mine. I looked at the couple, who were waiting for me to fix the problem. The woman looked disgusted, while her husband shook his head in disappointment. Normally, I would have quietly found Mr. Richards, who would then come to the table, berate me in front of the customers, and force me to endure the humiliation. Not today. My hands trembled with anticipation as I carefully picked up the plate. It felt like crucial evidence in a criminal case, because that's what it was. Proof of my innocence and the blatant hypocrisy I had endured for months. I walked slowly towards the front counter where Richards was tallying receipts. The other employees seemed to sense something different in my demeanor. Sophia, the veteran waitress, watched me with a curious expression. Leo, the head cook, glanced up from his station. And Jessica? She was oblivious, her brown hair swinging as she worked, completely unaware of the drama about to unfold. I took a deep breath, steeling myself. Months of being publicly shamed, treated like a problem employee, and having my professionalism questioned over something I never did, it was all about to come to a head. I stopped in the middle of the dining room, in full view of every customer. The diner was packed. More witnesses, the better. "Mr. Richards," I called out, my voice steady but loud enough to turn heads. "I need you to come over here and solve another one of my hair problems with the food." He swaggered over, a smug look on his face, already preparing his usual lecture. I could see he was relishing the chance to humiliate irresponsible Clara once again. "Let me guess," he said loudly, playing to the nearby tables. "You forgot to secure your hair properly again, didn't you?" That was my cue. In a slow, deliberate motion, I dramatically pulled off my hairnet. My amethyst purple hair cascaded over my shoulders. A hush fell over the diner. "Mr. Richards," jaw dropped. Cutlery clattered against plates as customers stopped eating to stare. I held up the plate with the brown hair. "Explain to me, Mr. Richards, how my brown hair ended up in this food." His face turned from red to ghostly white. He stammered, opening and closing his mouth like a fish out of water. A low murmur rippled through the customers, and a few people pulled out their phones to record. "I'm waiting," I pressed on, my voice firm. "How did my purple hair magically turn brown on its way to this plate?" Jessica finally noticed what was happening. Her eyes darted from me to her father, then down to her own loose hair. She frantically started searching for a hair tie, but it was far too late. "Everyone, take a look," I announced, turning to display my vibrant hair to the entire room. "For months, my manager has blamed me for something I was never responsible for. Now you all see the truth." Mr. Richards was still sputtering. "Well, maybe it's an old hair from before." "From before what?" I cut him off. "Before I dyed my hair a month ago? Are you suggesting a hair of mine has been floating around your kitchen for a month before landing on this gentleman's dinner?" The murmurs grew into quiet laughter and expressions of outrage. I had the room on my side. I pulled out my own phone and started a live stream on a popular app called Live Feed. "You won't believe what's happening," I began. "My name is Clara, and for months I've been publicly shamed by my manager for hair in customers' food." I showed my purple hair, the plate with the brown hair, and then panned to a speechless Mr. Richards. "And this is the manager, who can't seem to explain how my purple hair became brown." The viewer count skyrocketed. Comments of support flooded the screen. "You go, girl! Expose him! Justice for Clara!" Patrons started walking out, some without even paying. One woman declared, "If they can't even manage basic hair hygiene, I shudder to think what else is going on in that kitchen. And this," I continued, turning the camera on Jessica cowering by the grill, "is his daughter Jessica, who has been working without any hair protection for months while I was being blamed." The video was gathering tens of thousands of views. New hashtags started trending. Hashtag purple hair power, hashtag justice for Clara, hashtag Bistro Nightmare. Mr. Richards finally found his voice. "Clara, stop this right now or you're fired." I let out a sharp laugh. "Fire me? You've just lost half your business. And you want to fire me in front of thousands of live viewers? I think you have bigger problems." Sophia, the veteran waitress, stepped forward. "Can I say something?" she asked, looking at my phone's camera. "I've worked here for 7 years." I always knew it wasn't Clara's hair, but he refused to listen. Leo, the cook, joined in. "It's true. Richards told me I'd be fired if I complained about his daughter not following the rules." The dam had broken. Other employees came forward, sharing their own stories of favoritism and mistreatment. My personal vindication had become a full-blown exposé of the diner's toxic environment. "You're all fired!" Richard screamed, losing the last shred of his composure. "Great," I shot back. "Good luck explaining to your few remaining customers how you're going to run a diner with no staff." The video went viral. An investigative journalist, Olivia Chen from Channel 8 Investigative Reports, was watching and was very interested in the labor practices at the corner bistro. Within a few hours, my story was everywhere. I met with Olivia, showing her the months of documentation I had kept, threatening texts from Richards, photos, and discreet audio recordings of his tirades. She interviewed other former employees who confirmed the toxic work environment and received an anonymous tip about serious health code violations, including falsified cleaning logs and improper food storage. The segment aired the next day, a scathing 10-minute report on the corner bistro. The public backlash was immense. The diner's reputation was destroyed. Soon after, I was contacted by Dr. Evelyn Reed, a prominent labor rights lawyer. "Clara," she told me, "you have an ironclad case for workplace harassment, discrimination, and defamation. This could set a precedent." We filed the lawsuit. The story blew up even more. Desperate, Mr. Richards tried to offer me a settlement, but I refused. A surprise health inspection confirmed everything the report had alleged, and the corner bistro was shut down indefinitely. 8 months later, we were in court. Mr. Richards looked like a defeated man. My lawyer, Dr. Reed, laid out the case, presenting a mountain of evidence. The judge ruled decisively in my favor. "Mr. Richards," the judge stated, "your targeted harassment of an employee is unacceptable. This ruling should serve as a warning to all employers." The compensation was significant. Mr. Richards had to sell his assets to pay the settlement and the hefty fines. The corner bistro never reopened, but the real victory was what came next. I used a portion of the settlement to start my own business, a food truck called the Purple Palette. With the help of Sophia, Leo, and other former colleagues, we built a business founded on respect and fairness. The food truck became a symbol of defiance and integrity. I started giving talks at business schools about ethical employment practices. My story was used as a case study on the power of social media to enact change. One day, I received an email from a young woman named Maya in another state. She had been inspired by my story to stand up to her own abusive boss, and she had won her lawsuit. Attached was a photo of her new small bakery. On the window was a sticker, "Inspired by the purple-haired girl." That was the real win. It was never about the money, it was about dignity. Years later, the Purple Palette had expanded to a small fleet of trucks. I still rocked my amethyst hair. I even received the Community Impact Award from the Downtown Business Association. At the spot where the corner bistro once stood, a new boutique had opened. The owner, Ms. Albright, had placed a small plaque on the wall. In this spot, the Purple Revolution began. "Clara, thank you for championing workplace dignity." It all started with a bottle of hair dye. But really, it started with the decision that I deserved respect. It was about finding the courage to show my true colors. And if I could go back and talk to that nervous girl mixing purple dye in her bathroom, I'd tell her one thing: do it, change everything.